All right, so we're ready to move on to the practice questions. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. There's some last important notes that aren't new terms, but are new ideas that we need to know before we start the practice questions. So here's some more diagrams you can read through about secants, tangents. What's really important is this formula right here, and you should write this down right where you're going to do the practice questions, deliverable 3, because you're going to need to know this. The measure of an external angle equals the measure of the larger arc minus the measure of the smaller arc divided by 2. So here's an example we can look through together. If we have arc VX, let me get my pen out here. If we have arc VX right here, and that's 50, and we have arc VY right here, and that's 120, we can plug these values in to find out this external angle, external outside angle. And when we say external, we mean external to the circle, so it's outside of the circle. So I do the larger arc, which is 120, minus the smaller arc, that's 50, and then I'm going to put that divided by 2. I get 120 minus 70, minus 50 is 70, so I do 70 divided by 2. This angle, angle U, is 35 degrees. So I can use that formula to solve for external angles. So now that we've looked through an example, let's go do the first practice question. Here is an important example that you're going to want to look back to if this isn't super clear to you. So here's another example. All right, practice question 1. Here we have, that was just a note to myself to put this video link in here. So I will do that when the video is done. Deliverable 3 is 6 practice questions. The first we're going to go through together. The things you do for this practice question will apply to the other questions. So go through, write all the steps down for these, and you'll be okay to do the rest on your own. So we need to name all of the secants for part A. Make sure you label your work, deliverable 3, number 1, part A. So you get credit for all of this work that you do. So secants. Remember, secants are lines that intersect a circle at 2 points and extend beyond. So in this case, I see 2 lines that are extending beyond the circle. So I have PAC, and then I have PBD. Okay, so these are also lines, so I would note that by putting a line above it. Line PAC and line PBD, secants. Okay. Then in part B, I'm asked to list all the names of the tangents. Tangents are lines that are outside the circle. I don't see any lines that are outside the circle. It would look something like, it's a terrible line, but something like that. Hit it at 1 point. I don't have that. Okay. So I would just write none. In the space below for part C, list all the names of the chords. If I look back up at my notes or think back, chords are lines that intersect the outside of a circle or meet the outside of the circle, but don't extend beyond it. So my chords are going to be inside my tangents, the part that's just meeting the edge of the circle. So I have AC and I have BD. Again, these are line segments, so I can label this with a line above it to say line AC, line BD. All right, so then for part D, I'm gonna wanna label my diagram. So if you are writing this out on a piece of paper, I suggest you pause and actually put this diagram on your paper. It doesn't need to be perfect, but draw a circle with the center, this line, put some labels of where all the letters are. That's gonna help you out. I did this when I made the answer key, when I worked this out for myself too. Once you have that diagram, we're gonna wanna label all of the given information. So if arc CD is 110 degrees, so to find the arc, I'm gonna go C to D. So I know this is 110. Just gonna label this. I know that the writing is not great. I'm sorry. Okay, so 110. And if arc AB is 20, A to B, that's gonna be 20 from here to here, okay? Calculate the angle in P. So that's my X, this external angle. Well, I have a formula for this. My formula is measure of external angle equals the large arc minus the small arc divided by 2. So here's my formula. So now I'm just going to plug in what I have. My measure of my external angle, that's X. And it equals the large arc, 110, minus the small arc, 20, divided by 2. So then I get, if I work this out, I get 90 divided by 2, which is 45 degrees. So there's my answer. The important thing is to label. If an arc is your X, you'll just label what your X is. As long as you only have one variable and all your other numbers are filled in, you're going to be able to solve whether you're solving for the arc or the exterior angle, the external angle. You have 5 practice questions to do on your own. Then you're going to scroll down and do the cool down activity. Don't forget, if you submit this and you get feedback that says you got some stuff incorrect, don't despair, just correct it, use the feedback to revise so that you can get that full credit for your core value standard. You guys got this. I can't wait to see your work when you turn it in.